Oh, good morning, Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Friday, September 15th. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, joined by my co-host, Mr. TC Stills. Check out the intro, and we will be right back.
Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's okay. It's okay. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat. Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger. I'm a threat. I'm a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. It's a bet. You know I ain't letting up, my foot is on your neck. Take my word for it, it's a promise and a threat.
Oh, good morning, Yankees universe. Like I said, welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew. I'm your guy Hector, joined by my co-host, Mr. TC Stills. All you Yankee fans out there, wake up and get your coffee. TC, how you feeling, big fella?
It's Friday. Hey, feeling good. You know, it's good morning for me, but afternoon for you guys. So all's well. Hey, we won 3 out of 4 in Boston.
3 out of 4.
I like that. Judge Grand Slam. That was pretty nice.
3 out of 4. You remember when Sunil said we was gonna lose 3 out of 4, but we wind up winning 3 out of 4 games.
Right.
I'm just saying, I like to keep receipts and I like to be petty. So last Friday, Sunil said we was gonna lose 3 out of 4 games, but look at it. Yankees won 3 out of 4. So is the 16-6 record, is it still alive, TC? Do we have any hope?
I'm keeping hope alive.
I'm trying. Let's do a little bit of the roll call. Shout out to the chat. We got 20 people in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Jacob Petruzzi.
My guy, Jacob.
Salute, 3 capital S's. My guy, Blood of the Panther, the top moderator. All the moderators. Salute. We got our friend NFE in the building. Good morning, guys. I won't be on this morning. Have an awesome show and an awesome weekend. Let's go, Yankees. NFE, I appreciate you, my guy. Big time Jerry Cadell is in the chat. Big time, how you doing? And of course, we got Anna Marie. I love you in the building. Anna Marie, how you doing? My guy, Mr. Mikey Pellegrino, is in the building. Mikey P, how you doing? Jacob Petruzzi's in the building. Petruzzi, how you doing? Of course, we got our friend, Mr. Dev Finch. And of course, Sean Brownie's in the building. Salute. And we can't forget retired war vet. Salute to you, my guy. How are you doing? Happy Friday. Like always, if you guys can, please smack that like button. And if you are watching this show for the first time, hit the subscribe button. It helps us out when it comes to growing the channel. And also, at 1:30, guys, don't remember, make sure you guys go and subscribe to our friend Jerry Ferrara. Our guy Celso Porto Jiggerman. He's producing for Jerry right now. They got a show going on at 1:30, literally right after this show. Just hop over to Jerry's channel. Make sure you subscribe. If you go to the channel portion on our channel, you'll be able to see Jerry's channel. Click that link, subscribe to his channel. Let's show the morning brew crew some love over there on Jerry Ferrara's channel. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Aiden DeValley in the building. Aiden, how you doing? Of course, my guy, Frankie Rivera's in the building. Frankie, how you doing? But TC, we got to talk about it. Talking about Celso right there. My guy, Jigga Man, my brother from another mother.
How you doing?
Talking about it, the Yankees did win 3 games out of 4 games yesterday, right? So let's get into that conversation. Before we take a deep dive on any of the other topics, whether that be free agency, whether that be who's going to stay, who's going to go, we got to talk about a kid that had a big game yesterday, and that's Peraza. We got to talk about Peraza real quick. Oswald Peraza, the New York Yankees, this kid, it's been an up and down season, right? Us Yankee fans, we've been wanting this kid to be up here on the Major League roster at the beginning of the season. Right, my friend Addison on Twitter, he pointed out this: the 29 games before he brought back that leg kick, Peraza was batting 129, a 253 on base percentage, and a 141 slugging, which gives him a 394 on base percentage. He only had 1 extra base hit in that time. In the 9 games since he brought back that leg kick of his, he's hitting 375, He has a 375 on base percentage, a 575 slugging, which equals to a 950 OPS, 6 extra base hits. Is Peraza our third baseman of the future? What's your thoughts, TC?
Yeah, he's got a lot of potential. The way they've handled him this year and last year, it's been very very poor. He should have been up on this team earlier, and then bringing him up and trying to change his leg kick, which was working. I mean, the guy was hitting over 300 in AAA. So you come up to the majors and you want to change that right away. And look at the stats speak for themselves. Look at with the leg kick, 375, 6 extra base hits. I mean, he's producing. He's got a great glove at third. He can play, all infield spots, short, second. Great arm. I mean, I honestly don't see DJ LeMahieu starting at third base, and who knows what they do with Gleyber Torres. So I'm honestly at this point, if they don't make any big major move, I'm saying Peraza starts at third base next year. I don't see why not. I mean, the kid's proven it, and he's got 10, 15 more games left this month.
Yeah.
To end the season. So we'll see how he ends it. But if I'm the Yankees, I'm definitely looking at him to start at third base next year.
No, yeah. Listen, if you're a Yankee fan, you like what you're seeing from the kid Oswald Peraza. If you're in the Yankees front office, you like what you're seeing from Oswald Peraza, because regardless if he is our answer at third base or he's used as a trade piece in the offseason to trade for someone else. That's a big thing also that Yankee fans, we already put it into the conversation. The possibility of Peraza, who is rising in stock right now, being a piece that we use to make a trade in the offseason, whether that be for another starting pitcher, whether that be for a bullpen arm, we don't know. But the possibilities could be out there. Regardless, you like what you're seeing from Peraza. My guy Chris on Twitter said, Peraza is fascinating to discuss. Going into next season, assuming and Torres are back, talking about LeMahieu and Gleyber, he does not have a starting spot on the 2024 roster. Do you open up a spot for him to play second base or third base, or do you look to trade him? People to chat, let me know. Do you guys want to hold on to Peraza, or if a trade presents themselves, would you be inclined to trading Peraza, whether that be for a starting pitcher or whether that be for a bullpen arm, because he still has controllability when it comes to his arbitration years? Of course, L.I. Yankee King is going to say no. Peraza is his third baseman. Yeah. Shout out to my guy, L.I. Yankee King. And shout out to my guys from the Big Blue and the Bronx Network. My guys, Alex and Luca over there, who was killing it. Salute, salute, salute to the Twins. I can't wait for next week, September 23rd. I cannot wait. It's literally right around the corner. I know Steve Schumann is going to be in the building. Shout out to Stevie Pooh, who is in the building. Steve's going to be in the building. Anthony Garcia is going to be in the building. Anthony Medina, mi hermano de la isla, is going to be in the building. It's going to be a great conversation. Alex and Luca was be in the building as well. Derek from NYY Recap will be in the building as well. I know Mario and Kev is going to be in the building as well. Kristen and Chris from the NYYST. And of course, my brother Pete Seminetti and the Queen Jira from NYYU. It's going to be amazing. Make sure you guys get your tickets. Are you excited, TC? Because I know I'm excited to chill out with you for the first time, my big bro.
I'm super excited. Bags are packed. I'm ready to go. I mean, I'll be with you next week.
You got your toothbrush ready? You got your toothbrush? You got your toothbrush back packed?
Toothbrush, got the underwear, got it all ready to go.
Now, I want to ask you, right? I know this is off topic, right? But for me, for some reason, I always forget my toothbrush. It doesn't matter where I'm going, where I pack up, if I'm going to Florida, if I'm going to Jersey for the weekend, wherever I'm going, for some reason, my dumb ass, I always forget my toothbrush, and I always got to stop off at like a CVS or a pharmacy and buy me a new toothbrush. And on top of it, it's not that bad to have like a brand new toothbrush when you're out on vacation, right, TC?
No, it's good. You got to keep replacing them. You got to get those bristles. They get worn out.
Yeah. Steve says, hey, will you guys be there Friday the 22nd? Would like to meet up. I'm 50-50, Steve. I know I'm going to be there on the 21st, the 22nd at a couple of days ago, it was a no for me, but right now I'm 50-50, Steve. If you're going to be in the building, Steve, I know TC is going to be in New York City. Maybe we could try to set something up to be at the stadium on the 22nd. Shout out to my guys, Garlic Balls that's in the building. Okay, I like the name, Garlic Balls that's in the building. Salute, 3 capital S's. He said, let's see Cole shove it tonight. Absolutely. Yeah. We love to see Garrett Cole shove it, especially against his former team, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That's right.
Let's see what else. Let's see what else we got on the chat. Let's circle back to the Peraza conversation. My guy NES Ness, the baseball guy, said happy for Peraza, but the way the Yankees been handling him is shady as hell. I hope he continues to do well and gets traded to another team that values his talent. I'm not going to argue against that. It's the same way we feel about Esteban Florial. Same way we feel about other players that are on this team. If you aren't going to give him an opportunity, and when I'm talking about you, I mean Brian Cashman and the Yankees. If you guys aren't going to give him an opportunity to shine, let him go somewhere else so he can shine on another team that's going to appreciate his talent. Whether that be at shortstop, whether that be at third base, whether that be at second base.
Yeah, no, I mean I totally agree. I mean, if they've held on to him this long and passed up on all these guys, I know we talked backstage about passing up on Seager and Turner and Simeon and all these guys at short. You better hope he works out, or you better get somebody for him that's major league ready.
Yeah,
because Cashman dropped the ball again on these guys. It's just a shame. I mean, we missed out on so many great players that should be here, left-handed hitters in Yankee Stadium, and you're going to treat these guys like, okay, well, you held on to him. Why this long and treating him this way if he's the future? It just blows my mind.
Yeah, no, I feel you, bro. And I want to talk about something too. Let's hit the transition and let's come right back so we can have the conversation about it. I've seen this going around on Twitter last night and earlier today. I wasn't able to make a graphic for it. That's why we just have the regular graphic to talk about it. But Giancarlo Stanton is owed, I think is 98. Hold on, 19.6. He's owed $98 million from the Yankees over the next 5 seasons. That's $19.6 million per season if you was to average that out. If you're the Yankees this offseason, are you going to try to do everything you can to get off that money? Or not even get off that money, get off of just him holding it up, holding a position, holding a roster spot? Because you looked at the game yesterday, they had him in left field. And if you were watching the game, right, on the playback, the highlights, and if you heard the Red Sox announcers, they just kept pointing it out. They was like, listen, Giancarlo Stanton, he can't move in the outfield. How many blue hits fell in front of him that if there was an actual MLB left fielder, they would have made those plays?
Yeah.
Bloopers landed right at his feet.
Honestly, if it's for, if I'm Brian Cashman, I'm doing all I can to try to move him this offseason. With the amount of free agents that are out there that are it's bad. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. Maybe there's a team that out there needs a DH, needs a big power bat in the middle of their lineup, and he's a liability for us. It's at any given moment, he'd blow out his leg, run into first, in the outfield. I mean, he strictly has to be a DH at this point. You can't have him. If you're a championship caliber team, like they keep telling us, you can't have him in the outfield because like yesterday, bloop hits happen, balls go over his head. He's not running for it. He's just trotting. He's just, that's him. I'm sure they're telling him, give it 50%. Don't go all 100% because your legs are going to blow out any given moment. So yeah, I'm trying to dangle him out there for any team. I mean, I know we brought up the Mike Trout, the Mike Trout, maybe swap with the Angels. But I mean, if I'm the Angels at this point, that's why would they do that? That makes
I honestly think the trading Giancarlo Stanton idea that would never happen. What I meant to say, and I should have framed it better was, could the Yankees pull off a Bobby Bonilla situation with Giancarlo Stanton? Because like I said, he's owed $98 million over the next 5 seasons, which is $19.6 million a season if you average it out. The Marlins, they're paying money. That's why it's just 19.6 for the Yankees. If the Yankees were to go to Giancarlo Stanton and tell him, listen, it ain't working out. We want to give you everything that you're owed. But instead of getting it in the 5-year span, we'll give it to you over the next 20 years. That right there equals $4.9 million per season over the next 20 years. Now, if you're Giancarlo Stanton's agent, you're going to want to kick back because you're helping out the Yankees, right, when it comes down to it. So if they want to give him a 1% kickback or 1.5 or a 5% kickback per year, so if you take that 4.9, let's do the math real quick. 4.9 times 4.9 with the percentage. That's an extra $1 million a season. So instead of 4.9, it will be 5.9. Let's round it up and say 6 million per season. That's an extra 1.2. So if you extrapolate that for 20 years, that's like an extra 20 to 25 million, like Razil the Great said. And you're gonna carry the 1-2, while you're doing it.
So you're saying just to walk away, just to
walk away, just to cut bait with Giancarlo Stanton. Sit down with him and his agent this offseason. Tell him, listen, we owe you $19.6 million. Let's expand that. Instead of 5 years, just do a buyout that will pay you everything that you need, that you're owed over the next 20 seasons, and we'll give you a 1% kickback. So for every season, you get an extra $1.5 million. $6 million a year for 20 seasons for Giancarlo Stanton to dip out, and he could still sign in the offseason with someone else.
I don't see that happening. No, the guy wants to play, whether he's 50% or not. I mean, he wants to play. He wants to be part of the team.
He can still play with someone else.
Yeah, but he wanted to be a Yankee. He has full trade, no trade clause. Where does he want to go? LA? I mean, is that the only other place he want to go?
He's from LA. He's from the West Coast. The Dodgers, if the Dodgers miss out on Ohtani and Ohtani signs with the Mets, they got a spot for the DH unless they go to bring back Martinez, JD Martinez, for another year. Because you're still getting
I'm dealing them to the Dodgers. I'd like to just trade them to the Dodgers.
That's the thing. If you're the Dodgers, you're gonna want prospects back in order to eat that money.
Yeah.
What the Yankees can do is flex their financial wallet and eat his contract. And instead of being over 5 years, like I said, have a conversation with him and pay him out over 20 years. That's $5 million a season. That's not really hurting your payroll if you think about it.
Right. But honestly, do you think he would agree to that?
If it's me, you're going to pay me the $98 million that I'm owed over the next 20 years, and I get to sign in the offseason with another team and still make at least $10 million. Do you think, you got to think of it? Is Giancarlo Stanton worth $25 million right now with the production that he puts out? Absolutely not. Is he worth $10 million?
Maybe.
Because not only if you're a team like the Seattle Mariners who need a DH, a team that desperately needs offense, you can get a little bit of offense from Stanton, and he will help you in the beginning of the season when it comes to season ticket sales, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to jersey sales and stuff like that. He can help you for the first half of the season. So it's not only the baseball player you're getting that marketing that comes behind it as well. Extra few dollars that are being sold for season tickets, and when it comes to merchandising for jerseys, bobbleheads, et cetera, when it comes to Stanton.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm the Yankees, I know there's a money crunch, but you know what? Honestly, this offseason, they shouldn't worry about any of the money. They really shouldn't. I mean, I still would want him as a DH. Don't put him in the outfield. Just say, you know what, you're a strict DH, and just we want your bat in there, either behind Judge or batting fifth, somewhere in there. The Yankees, they know they have to bring in other pieces. And honestly, they got to treat this offseason as if it was the 08-09 offseason. and go all in like they did with, getting AJ Burnett and CC Sabathia and Mark Teixeira. They got to treat it that way.
Yeah.
They got to get the Yamamoto. They got the Lee. They got, maybe Aaron Nola. Whoever's out there gives this team a boost to the next level, because it's not championship caliber. They have a foundation of Judge and Cole, maybe Rodon in there and Volpe, but they got to get those pieces to add to this team. And I still honestly think that Stanton is still part of this team, even with his limitations. Just don't put him in the outfield. We put an athletic team around him. We're not going to be worried about Stanton's running. We won't. The problem this year is because there's so many guys that are like Stanton that have been this bad, with the Donaldsons and the Hicks and the the Calhouns and all those type guys. So we put the more athletic guys like we see now with our youngsters mixed in with some of the and Bellinger. Don't forget Bellinger. If we get all these pieces, we're not even going to worry about Stanton.
Now I want to bring up what Steve Schumann just said into that. The problem is that he is clogging up that DH spot, and that's the reason why I said let's have the conversation about if the Yankees can buy him out and pay him out over the next 20 years for that reason right there. Because if you want the Yankees to be active in the offseason, like I want them, and we've been talking about it, if the Yankees potentially, if they get rid of Giancarlo Stanton, it opens up the DH spot. So you could, A, have Aaron Judge DH. 2, it opens it up for you to sign both Cody Bellinger and Jung-Ho Lee, because if Anthony Rizzo comes back and he's not able to be the same, you can have Rizzo be the DH, move Cody Bellinger to first base. Or if you want Peraza to be the starting third baseman, you can have DJ LeMahieu split a lot of his time at the DH spot, if not second base, and have Gleyber Torres DH. That way, Gleyber Torres' defense doesn't hurt you, right? So if we just move off of Stanton, it opens up that DH spot so we can actually use it and have a rotating DH instead of just one person stuck in that spot and just clogging up not only the lineup, but the roster at the same time.
Right. Yeah, I see your point, but I mean, there's rest days as well. I mean, you don't need to have Stanton as your DH every day. I mean, we've seen a lot of players, that David Ortiz, Edgar Martinez. I mean, they're full-time DHs, and they made a living of hitting. Yeah, I know Stanton isn't at that caliber right now in his career, but I just don't. It's going to be difficult to move him, and these other little ideas about paying him off to take a season or to go somewhere else.
Oh, buying out his contract. It's just buying out. It's buyout of his contract.
I just don't see that happening. I don't see it. I mean, yeah, it's creative and it's a good idea, but I don't see him having any part of that.
Copy. That's fair. Let's see. G was missing an 88 mile per hour fastball last night. His bat is also a worry. Absolutely, Damian. And that's the thing. His defense is just horrible. There's a lack of defense. He's just not the same. The body has broken down. When we first got him, when he was 28 years old, coming off of winning an MVP, it was amazing. It was awesome. It was great. But right now, like Anna Marie says, you got to check his eyes. You got to check the eyes, because when you're looking at it from an eye test, he's failing every metric. Every metric. It was awesome that he had that game-tying home run against the Brewers. That was awesome. That was fantastic. But the defense yesterday in left field, in Fenway Park, which is not the biggest left field in the world, the defense in Fenway Park yesterday was just atrocious. That's all I'm going to say. Right. If you want to get creative this offseason, a way you can get creative is if you have the conversation with Giancarlo Stanton, tell him, listen, you're still going to get your $100 million that you're owed. Instead of 5 years, you get it over the next 20 years. And you can still go out into the free agent market, and you could potentially sign over the next 3 to 5 seasons, $10 million contracts each year. That's an extra $50 million on top of the $100 million he's going to get that's already owed to him to the Yankees. If it's me, and I have an opportunity to get an extra $50 million on top of what I'm owed, I'm trying to do it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I'm not against you, but I just I don't see that playing out. And I'd
from
rather
him or from the
I'd love to see
Yankees.
them
You don't
just outright trade him. I mean, just if they had a partner that could do it.
Yeah,
Get something
for
back, but
me,
yeah.
for me, it's more realistic for them to try to buy out his contract instead of trading him. Because if you trade him, that $10 million per season that the Marlins are going to be paying, that you lose that.
Right.
You lose that. So not only are you going to have to eat a lot of his money already, but you're going to have to give up a prospect in order to get him off of your roster. If there's any team out there that's going to want to eat his contract, they're going to want a top 10 prospect, if not 2 top 10 prospects, just to eat his contract. And then they could buy him out for the next 20 years and he get paid. And now they got your 2 top prospects. So I'm saying it's more realistic that the Yankees and his agent could come to an agreement when it comes to a buyout instead of a team trading for him and the Yankees having to give up a prospect and pay some of that money over the next 5 seasons.
I see your point. I got it.
Let's see. Steve Suman says if you outright trade him, the new team is tagged with the AAV on his present contract. They lose that $10 million from the Marlins.
Yeah, that's going to be extremely difficult to move him to another team. Yeah.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is.
Let's
go back. Let's go back to the series against the Red Sox.
Happy, though.
No, Celso is definitely happy when it comes to that. Let's go back to the series and let's have a conversation about Michael King. We got to talk about Michael King for next year, 2024. Do you want him in the rotation or do you want to see Michael King in that bullpen? Michael King, since being a part of that starting rotation, he has a 1.27 ERA. He's given up 3 earned runs and 21 1/3 innings. He has 29 strikeouts and he has 4 walks. People to chat, let me know. When it comes to Michael King, do you want him in the bullpen or do you want him in the starting rotation? Personally, me, I like what I'm seeing out of Michael King. Stretch him out. I think he'll have like 1 or 2 more starts left before the season's over. So far, so good. I like what I'm seeing out of Michael King. What's your thoughts, TC?
Yeah, I agree. I like what I'm seeing as a starting pitcher, and he has the repertoire to do it. He's got multiple pitches. He's not just a 1-2 pitch guy. I mean, they're stretching him out, and I think by next season, depending on how he goes in the offseason training, everything, I think he can be a 5 to 6 inning guy. I mean, right now they limit him to maybe 4. I don't think I've seen him maybe 5 innings, but stretching him out, I do see him as a starting pitcher. I know I've always wanted him as the bullpen, that middle guy that kind of gets out the first guy of the bullpen that gets the other teams, best hitters coming up. He's that, high leverage guy in the middle of the game. But honestly, I do like what I'm seeing, and I guess it depends on what we get in the offseason. If we get Yamamoto and we say we get another pitcher, I don't know if there's a spot, with Schmidt there, and we have Nestor. So I don't know what their idea, what their plans are with Nestor. If they're gonna maybe move Nestor to the bullpen, I mean that could be an option as well. But right now, as of right now, if we were going into next season, I would with getting no other players, I would pencil Michael King in as my 4th starter.
Yeah, my guy Joyce on Twitter said Michael King has made 5 starts since joining the rotation. He's continuing to build up his pitch count. Again, 21 1/3 inning, 19 hits, 5 runs allowed. 3 of them have been earned, 4 walks, 29 strikeouts. Michael King has made himself a legit option to join the rotation next season. A legit option. You can't deny it. So if you want us to have the conversations, let's start setting up the rotation for 2024. Obviously, Garrett Cole's on number 1. He's on ace, right? You see the rumors when it comes to the Yankees going to be aggressive and go hard for Yamamoto. The Yankees, they just sent another scout over to Japan. Brian Cashman was there. They just sent over one of their top scouts to go watch him pitch again. Not only him, but Rokai Saiki as well. The other Japanese pitcher that's killing it right now, who throws over 100 miles per hour. So if you want to have Cole, Yamamoto, then you want to pencil in Nestor Cortez, Carlos Rodon, Michael King, and Clark Smith as 6 options for your rotation. That's a solid 6 pieces to pick from.
Yeah. Hey, we don't forget we got Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, we got Clayton Beater, Will Warren. Those, and they're going to be fighting for rotation spots, and I'm probably looking to see them be as bullpen pieces because our bullpen is needs a work over. It needs an overhaul.
Anthony, I know Suzuki's not available. I'm just saying the Yankees sent the
21,
scout to go watch him. He's not going to be posted for the next couple of seasons. I understand that. Yeah.
There's a lot of options though, and in spring training, there's going to be a lot of guys fighting for that fifth rotation spot. And there's some free agents out there, like I mentioned Aaron Nola, so that's a possibility they go after him.
Snell is also a free agent.
Blake Snell, that's right, that's another guy. So it all depends on. And I know we're putting all our eggs in the basket of Yamamoto. So if it's going to be a big letdown if we don't get him, because they're putting a lot of resources into
Hey, listen, when the Yankees target when they target the guy that they want to go after. They set their targets in and they go after him. The Yankees for years were trying to get Garrett Cole. Wasn't able to get Garrett Cole. They finally were able to get Garrett Cole. So I think when it comes to Yamamoto, if you see Brian Cashman, if you see the Yankees scouts going over there, I think the Yankees are making it a clear sign that they're going to go hard and be aggressive for Yamamoto services.
I think in the offseason gave Cashman the green light. Like it, you get that guy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Write a check.
And then you got the Mets, who apparently are going to be going hard for him. His agent is the same agent for Kodai Senga, who they already have, who his contract looks like a steal. He's making like $15 million per season over the next 5 years. And he's their ace. He had an amazing outing his last time out. So Kodai Senga is working out. When it comes to Yamamoto, I'm just impressed by his stuff, bro. 95, 96 miles per hour. His splitter is just filthy. He has real good stuff.
But if you're Yamamoto and the Mets are trying to get you, but they already have Senga, wouldn't you want to be on the other side of town facing him and not being on the same team and want to rival him and say, I'm the king of New York, not you over here. So
that's what they.
I think the Yankees have an upper hand because of that. And don't forget all the Japanese players, the Yankees at Matsui and Tanaka that can, hey, New York, the Yankees are the place to be.
Not only that, TC, not only that, but normally when you have these big Japanese stars that come over from Japan over to the States, they normally like to go on a team where they're the only one, right? They want to be the international player on that team. They don't want to share the spotlight with another player, right? That's why when the Yankees, they missed out on Ichiro. They should have definitely gotten Ichiro, but that's why Matsui chose the Yankees and not the Seattle Mariners, because he wanted to be with the Yankees and he wanted to be that top figure on the Yankees, not share the spotlight with Ichiro, who was like a rock star, Michael Jordan, when he came over to the States. Let's see. And then Matsui, I think he's a reliever, if I'm not mistaken, or a closer. UK Matsui.
Yeah, he's a closer,
Matsui is on track to become a true international free agent this offseason as well. So we need to utilize the posting system. Listen, if you're the Yankees, you need to try to do whatever you can to improve your team, whether that is dipping into the pond to the MVP that's over there in Japan, whether it's going after Korean players, Jung Ho Lee, who's going to be available this offseason. If the talent is there, you bring them over, right? And I know a lot of people, my post that I put on Instagram about Yamamoto, I got a lot of pushback for some people that said that Yamamoto, Japanese pitchers, they really don't turn into anything good and they can't help a team win a World Series. I'm like, Darvish won a World Series, with the Dodgers. Kodai Senga is the ace for the Mets. Tanaka was the ace for our team for how many seasons? I understand injuries, took a lot out of Tanaka, but at the same time, he was still our number one pitcher for how many years? That's Dice K as well. He was overused by the Red Sox. The Red Sox really,
but he was a stud.
He was a stud. So when you have a player that's coming over from Japan, when you look at a guy like Yamamoto, he's dominating so much. He's dominating over there. If he was to come over here and be borderline, you could envision him being just borderline average. You'll still take that. He's dominating over there. And if he was to come over here and be borderline average, that's still better than what you're going to get out there in the free agent market. Let's be realistic. There's not that many options. You brought up Snell. Snell's going to cost you way more than what Yamamoto is going to cost you. And that's the thing. Yamamoto is going to be a lot cheaper than whatever options that are out there.
Right. No, I totally agree. Yeah. He might want, 18 to 20 million, 5 years. That's where I see him, anywhere in that range. Yeah. Blake Snell will want probably 30 million a year.
Exactly, Steve. Otani was from Japan, and people saying that Japanese pitchers can't, and I get it. Otani's dealing with injuries, but Otani, he's a superstar. When he's healthy, he's probably the best player on the planet when you look at his stuff and or the potential of what he can do. I'm going to shout out a few people in the chat before you continue on the conversation. My guy Primo Super Mo is in the building. Primo, how you doing? Salute.
Primo. Right.
Let's see what else we got. My guy Eli BK is in the building. Eli, how you doing? Salute. We got 40 people in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button for your boys. But we got some more news that came out yesterday, and it's about Dominguez. Some good news when it comes to Dominguez. The Martian, his surgery will be set for next week Thursday, next week Wednesday. My mistake, but the recovery time is going to be 9 to 10 months. I've seen some people talking about, they're going to use an internal brace for his Tommy John or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. It's still going to be the same recovery time. It's just the type of procedure that they're going to do when it comes to his Tommy John surgery. So 9 to 10 months, put Dominguez on track to return around June or July. He's a 20-year-old kid. No need to screw around when it comes to bringing him back early, like as a DH. Get a center field in the offseason and let Dominguez rehab fully and properly. Whatever he gives you next year, it's just a bonus. Absolutely. Right. You can't go into next season penciling this Jasson Dominguez as a key contributor for your team. You can't. He's recovering from Tommy John surgery. You got to go into the offseason, get a center fielder, and then whatever he gives you, it's just a bonus. What's your thoughts, TC?
Yeah, I agree. I agree that you don't need to rush him because he's not the centerpiece of this team. I mean, you can't just rely on him going into next season as he was the guy we were counting on. There's we have other guys around. Aaron Judge is that guy. So he's our captain. He's the main cog in our lineup. So honestly, I don't even think Dominguez was even thought about as a 2024 starter. I mean, they had visions of it, but I'm sure they were going into the season thinking, we need to get some outfielders. And, if Dominguez comes up and is ready, that's a plus. So that's the same way they got to treat it with this injury. I mean, we already know with this medical staff, the track record they have. So somebody please come, intercede, stop these guys from any tweaking of this, try to move it up to 8 months or 7 months or, let the guy rehab and hope for July of next year as a bonus. Yeah. Just leave it at that.
Like my guy Primo just said, Dominguez is also going to need some minor league time to get back into the swing of things. So definitely need a couple of outfielder when it comes to pickups this offseason. Absolutely. You can't just, he's not Bryce Harper yet. He wasn't his stat. He didn't have enough at-bats under his belt at the major league level. Bryce Harper was able to come back early as a DH because that's Bryce Harper. That's who he is. Jasson Dominguez, we want him to be one of those next great generational talents, but you can't rush him back. You can't ruin him by trying to get him out there early. He is the future. That's why I said this offseason, you got to lay everything out. Every option should be available to you, whether that is, like I said, with Giancarlo Stanton, trying to find a way to get off of his contract and get off of him being on this roster in the lineup, whether that is signing Cody Bellinger, whether that is going after Jung-Ho Lee. Yamamoto obviously is a hot topic because Yankees are going to go hard for Yamamoto. You have to be creative and do whatever you have to do to improve this team. You can't sit back and look at what's going on in Queens and letting Steve Cohen steal the back pages. You can't do that.
No.
You can't go into 2024 and have a repeat of this season and finish in last place or fourth place in 2024. You can't do that. Your fan base will turn on you.
Yeah, it's got to be proactive. They got to get ahead of this. They can't sit back like they have been and just wait. Look at what they did at the trade deadline. Did nothing. Got a middle reliever. I mean, you can't do that anymore. You got to be way out ahead of every other team. Get just entice these guys with some deal. Bring them in. Don't wait. Don't wait till teams are going back and forth. Just say, hey, this is what I'm giving you. I'm giving you well above what your asking price is, and bring them in, because this should be all or nothing. They got to do. They have to. They're wasting. How many times have we said they're wasting these years of Cole and Judge?
So many.
And then they went out and got rolled down. That's another big contract. So what are you doing? This can't be a rebuild. You can't be bringing up retreads and these castaways. You got to go out and get all these star big name players. You got some rookies around the team here. You got some potential guys to fill in, but you got to go out and get these big names now. Now.
And also when it comes to building up a minor league system, right? Yes, you want those players to help produce at the major league level, right? Yes, you want to see our young prospects break the big leagues with our team, the team that drafted or signed them when they were 16 years old. You want to see that happen. But the flip side, the other thing that prospects can do is help make your team better. Because yes, like I said, you want those prospects to come through your system, develop and produce for you on the major league level. But at the same time, if you're able to groom some prospects, develop some prospects so you could put them together in a trade offer for another big league team, you're still improving your team at the major league level. Because yes, those prospects aren't on your team, but you use 3 prospects to go get a player that can help you on your team. Right. So, yes, like I said, as much as we want these prospects to pan out, if there's deals that are in place that can help improve our team, if it makes sense, you gotta do what you gotta do to improve the team.
Of course. Yeah. You gotta be creative. And we're not going to go into the next season with all rookies and prospects. Yeah. We already know that. So I already foresee some of these guys being moved in a trade, because Cashman's got to put together some creative deals. Because he's obviously not up to par as of the last couple of years. So hopefully these other scouting guys, Sabian and Mania, in helping him out. Hal maybe getting somebody in an outside team to also as well to help him out. And I don't know. Maybe he's the main scout now. Maybe you see Cashman in Japan. Maybe he's moved out to scouting. Maybe he's not the GM. Maybe he's just
maybe there's a lot. And when we was having a conversation with Brian Hoke said ultimately Brian Cashman is the person that gets you to Hal Steinbrenner. But at the same time, there's a lot of heads. There are a lot of brains in that room with Brian Cashman's that are going through this process when it comes to evaluating players, when it comes to scouting players, when it comes to making the decision. Yes, Brian Cashman is you get from Cashman to Hal, but at the same time, Cashman has a bunch of people around him giving him the information. So hopefully Omar Minaya and Sabian, like you said, this offseason can influence Brian Cashman to get more creative. If there's one person that I trust out of those 3, is Omar Minaya. What Omar Minaya did for the Mets in the middle of the 2000s, being able to pull off the Delgado trade, Paul Lo Duca, Luis Castillo. I understand the drop ball, but still signing Carlos Beltran, getting Pedro Martinez. What Omar Minaya was able to do for the 2 to 3 season, he wasn't able to make it a 5-year stretch of consistency, but he took that team out of mediocrity and made them into a contender. They were literally just 1 strike away or 1 hit away from getting to the World Series when Carlos Beltran struck out. So I have faith in Omar Minaya. Sabian as well has a great track record from the San Francisco Giants, being able to put together teams that actually won a championship, multiple championships on top of it. So I like Minaya. I like Sabian. Hopefully Brian Cashman can find a perfect middle ground to listen to the both of them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's he needs help. He needs those great minds that built some good teams out there that to help him come up with some strategy, something different. and not just rely on analytics or have somebody that knows what they're talking about with analytics and bring in the right players, because they've missed on a lot of good guys that they could have had. So hopefully
we talked about it. We talked Corey Seager, who's top right now when you talk about the American League MVP. That's a guy that he grew up a Yankee fan. He wanted to be a Yankee, but for some reason we ain't have a conversation with him. And Corey Seager, yes, he's playing shortstop, but he could play multiple positions. He played second base with the Dodgers when they had Trey Turner. So when it comes to Corey Seager, he doesn't have to just play shortstop. You could have got him to play multiple positions. And I get it. You had a young kid in Volpe coming up. You already had Gleyber Torres on the team, DJ LeMahieu. Maybe that was just outside of your realm of realism. But when you look at what he has done this season for the Texas Rangers, with Ohtani being out for the rest of the season, with Aaron Judge not having an Aaron Judge type of season, him having to battle injuries, Corey Seager, he may walk away with that AL MVP. And shout out to my guy, Italy Jet, that's in the building. My guy, salute, what it do?
Yeah, I totally agree. He's my pick for AL MVP at this point. I mean, batting 344. The averages have been down, in baseball like for the last 2-3 years. And to be at 344, I mean, he 30. What does he have? 31 home runs. I think he has 92 RBIs. I mean, that's a terrific season. So I don't know if there's anybody close. Ohtani, I guess, would be close second, but he's missing a lot of time. And if Ohtani was still pitching, I think he'd probably be the number one, guy for the MVP. But
it depends on where the Angels. Right now, it's for me, it's Seager, but it would depends on where the Angels are at in the standing, because yes, he could do both. He's a great hitter, but when you look at his pitching numbers, his ERA is almost at a 4. Almost at a 4 ERA. So it's not like he was pitching to an ERA that was under 3 or under sub 250, right? So yes, amazing that he could pitch 40 home runs. That's fantastic. But his ERA was close to 4. So I would still be leaning towards giving it to Corey Seager. I want to highlight a few of the chats before we continue. My guy Sean Browning says, it all depends if he wants to come back and may leave if Boone leaves. I think he's talking about Sabian and Minaya. I'm not too sure. But like Medina said, Sabian's a better GM. Minaya is a better scout. And what Medina said right there is so true, because years ago, Omar Minaya was telling people that Ronald Acuna, when he was a 16-year-old, this kid is going to be the best player in baseball. This kid is going to be the next great thing. This kid is going to be a top player in baseball for at least 10 years. And he was right. Look what the Braves did with Acuna. And they signed him to a contract extension. You look at his money, the money that he's making, it's a bargain, bro. And they got it signed for basically through his prime.
Yeah. The NL MVP is probably between two Braves, Olsen and Acuna. I mean, what do you do there? I mean,
you got Olsen. I think Olsen has like 50 home runs, if I'm not mistaken.
Home runs. Yeah.
Wow.
And Acuna is just like a Triple Crown guy over there. So I mean, with the stolen bases, and it's amazing that they've put together a super team, and they've done it the right way. They did it the way the Yankees did it, with the core 4 and wow. It's I really wish the Yankees would take some notes and try to build within and come up with a team like that. But
the Braves traded one of their prospects by the name of Christian Pache for Matt Olson. Christian Pache is not even in the big leagues anymore. He's not even Major League Baseball or in the minors anymore, bro.
Nope.
They stole Matt Olson from the Oakland A's. And not only did they steal Matt Olson, they got Sean Murphy the next offseason.
Yeah.
And signed him to a contract extension.
Yeah. There's some smart guys over there in Atlanta.
Smart guys that's over there.
All these players.
They're able to identify at a very early age which players have it and which players don't. Christian Pache was an amazing prospect coming up. He was rated higher than Willie Harris. They stuck with Willie Harris and traded Christian Pache. Look how that worked out.
Yep.
Look how that worked out.
Definitely have the upper hand when it comes to scouting. That's for sure. So, or Hal, maybe get some of the Braves scouting department over here. How about that? Start with that.
Now, I want to throw out this last topic before we open it up to the open panel. And also, we got 45 people in the building. So if all y'all beautiful folks could just smack that like button, let's get the likes up to 50 on the stream. But we got to switch it up because here it comes. The rumors are starting. The rumors are starting. Mike Trout, an MLB insider, links Mike Trout to the New York Yankees. And of course, John Heyman, aka Orson Welles, came out and said no evidence Mike Trout wants out or that he'll waive his no trade clause. But if he does, the Yankees or the Phillies will be the logical spots for him to land. People in the chat, let me know what's your thoughts. TC, I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a little bit about this yesterday. 5 years ago, yeah, I would have loved to see Mike Trout on the Yankees, but just with his injury, history, and he just can't stay on the field. I mean, he's a terrific player, believe me. I mean, would I love to have him? Yes, but if we can somehow move Stanton, maybe Mike Trout is an option, but he's going to cost a lot of prospects, he owed a lot of money. That just seems like an impossible maneuver for the Yankees to get. Phillies, yeah, I see that. It makes a lot more sense. That's where he's from, and a Jersey guy, and he loves the Phillies, he loves the Eagles, and that. So that makes more sense for Trout to be there.
Yeah, I pass heavily on Trout, not because he's not a phenomenal talent, it's because of his injury history, right? Shout out to my guy El Don Sicario, and make sure you guys go and support NYY News. My guy Felix, my guy Ruben, my guy Don Sicario over there. But my guy Don Sicario said a few years ago, I would have never imagined Mike Trout being available for trades, but even the Yankees trading for him. But with his recent history of injuries, it seems so Yankee-ish to trade for him at this state of his career. Right. I mean, a superstar who can't stay healthy. Cashman likes that. I know, obviously, Don Sicario was joking, but for me, if this was even last year, because I remember last year, right before the season started, Yankee fans on YouTube, people were making videos, and it was a bit messy in the offseason, right?
Right.
But if it was last year, yeah. Right now, nah, it's just too many injuries are just piling up. He is in a later stage of his career. He is still owed, I think, $200 million.
Oh, yeah.
Still owed $200 million. So, Mike Trout, it makes sense for him to go to Philly. Him teaming up with Bryce Harper, I think, would be legendary in that lineup. Once again, he is a guy who is from South Jersey. He is a diehard Philadelphia sports fan. He is a diehard Eagle fan, 76ers fan, and I know he grew up a Phillies fan. Even though people want to say he grew up a Yankee fan, he grew up a Phillies fan. Let's be honest. He grew up watching Ryan Howard and Chase Utley. He didn't grow up watching Melky Cabrera, point blank period.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's just too late. Too little, too late. Cashman always, tries to get these guys past their prime, and this would be a big mistake. It would be a big mistake.
Like Chanel says, Hector. The best ability is availability. Trout is the antithesis of availability. He's a Philadelphia guy and will want to go home if anything. Absolutely. We were just talking earlier about Giancarlo Stanton and his money and his injury concerns. Do we want to pivot off of Giancarlo Stanton to bring in another guy that has more money that's owed to him for more years, and you still have to deal with the injuries that may be popping up?
Right.
I think that's too much of a gamble right now.
It's too much, and it's only if we could get off Stanton and somehow bring in Trout. That's just impossible. That's just, I don't see that ever happening. We can't have a team of Trout and Stanton and all these injury prone guys that you just can't do it. That's not building a championships team with all liabilities out there. It's just not it's just not smart.
It just makes no sense. Again, we got 45 people in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button. Shout out to my guy Kevin Cruz, who says a hell no. Absolutely. A big one. A big time. My guy Razil the Great, 2-syllable words only for Hector. It's only noon and it's too early for him. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, Razil. You feel me? 2, maybe 3. Borderline 3 syllables. That's all I'm gonna do. Unless Li Yankee King wants him to play first base. Because for some reason Li wants Aaron Judge to be the first baseman of the future.
Right.
But Li says Mike Trout is owed $250 million over the next 7 years. Stanton is owed $98 million over the next 5 years, and we're complaining about that.
Yeah.
We get Mike Trout. It's just gonna be complaints.
Yeah. That would put us way behind. Where will we be strapped? I mean, they're already complaining about money, and you want to bring that contract in, you won't be able to get anybody else.
No, definitely not. Guys, I'm going to put in the link for the open panel right now. Just a few rules for the open panel. Like always, if you guys can, just, be respectful to everyone's take. Be respectful to YouTube, to Facebook, to Twitter terms of services. Be not, if someone's in the middle of giving their take, let them finish. That way you'll be given the same amount of time so you can finish your take. So I'm going to put the link into the chat. TC and I will be right back after just a brief second, just so we can transition. We'll be back.
Take me out to the ball game.
That's right. Right. I'm trying to find. Boom. There it goes for the open panel. Let me bring in my guy.
That?
Jonathan backstage. Jonathan, how you doing, my guy?
Hi.
Uh-oh.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Trying to find it out. I see you, Jonathan. Don't worry. There we go.
We'll get it. There he is.
There we go. There we go. Fly
He's
guy.
on the Jumbotron.
There you go. Jonathan, what's good? Welcome to the open panel with the new layout. How you feeling?
I'm good. I just got. I was in our way last time you had an open panel, so I didn't join. Especially being on the West Coast, but yeah.
Wait, you just moved to the West Coast?
No, I visited.
Oh, okay. Oh, you was. Okay. All right. Well, Jonathan, you've been listening to the conversation. Whether it's Trout, whether it's Michael King in the rotation, go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
I definitely would not. I don't think any scenario where they would get Mac Trout. It would have been better to get him 5 years ago or get him before Stanton when they weren't selling him. Honestly, the big mistake was getting Stanton and not getting Harper, in my opinion. But there's no way unless. First of all, I don't think they need an outfielder. They have already a lot of outfielders, even with Dominguez going down. But I think they will have to focus on pitching in the offseason. Basically, pitching would be starting pitching is the number one. Should be the number one focus at least in my opinion.
Okay. What about Cody Bellinger? Are you a proponent for Cody Bellinger, or you want the Yankees to stay away from Cody?
If they can get him on a reasonable deal, but honestly, Cody Bellinger would have been better if they got him in the previous offseason. But they have to. I think the Yankees are have always recently been focused on their payroll, and they don't want to go over the third luxury cap.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to consider out of everything else. If they are willing to go over the third luxury cap, then you can spend like crazy. But I don't see any scenario where next year they go over the third luxury cap.
Steve Schumann has a question for you, Jonathan, who says, Jonathan, who would you say are all of our outfielders? Go ahead, Jonathan. Which outfielders you talking about?
For next year, well, since Dominguez, when I said that, I was picturing Dominguez in my head, but since he's not. Currently, the outfield is how it's it would if I'm imagining it would be Judge, Pereira, and they would have to get someone for the outfield because I'm still thinking about Beta. but Bader is no longer there. But it's been a lot of turnover in the outfield. So, and remember, I just came back from vacation, so
no, it's all good. It's all good, my guy. Right. Because I'm not sure if you was listening, because I know I do. TC, I go for walks when I'm listening to the game. So last night, while I was listening to the game, I was up in me and my girlfriend and her brother, we went to like Sleepy Hollow to Tarrytown, New York, and I was just walking around listening to the game, and John Sterling was him and Susan Waldman, and this is the first time that I ever heard John Sterling like bring this out. Susan was bringing up, well, they're going to walk Judge, and this was like in the 8th inning or something like that when they walk Judge, and this is why it's so important to have a big time left-handed bat behind Aaron Judge in the lineup. And John Sterling literally was like, well, I know there's one that's going to be available this offseason, and the Yankees will do everything they can to go after him. But I'm not going to say his name, Susan. He kept going with the thing. We know it's Cody Bellinger. We know it's Cody Bellinger. They were saying that. I never heard John Sterling say something like that. TC, I want to throw it over to you before I bring up a couple more people we got backstage. I got my guy Ruben, and I got Sunil.
Do you really see them getting Bellinger?
He's an option. He's an option, especially now with Jasson Dominguez going to be out by the All-Star break. He's an option. Cody Bellinger, he has ties to the Yankees organization.
It's gonna cost him at least $25 million a year.
That's okay.
Listen, we got 80. Thank you. We got $85 million coming off of the books. If it's $25 million, cool. He can have $25 million. We got $60 million afterwards to still mess around with.
The surprise is Florial, though.
I don't want to put all my eggs in the baskets for Florial yet, but every game that he has played since he's been called up, he's gotten a hit in every game except for the first game that he played. But hold on one second, Jonathan. I'm going to bring up my guy Ruben to the chat, and then I got Sunil backstage I'm going to bring up as well. But I'm going to bring up my guy El Numero Uno, Ruben. How you doing, my guy?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Chilling, Bob. Chill. You just came from the barbershop. You got the fresh cut, baby.
No, thanks. That was me.
My God. Listen, sometimes I do the same thing, but I'll be missing sometimes.
I'll be going real quick. My wife said, "You don't cut yourself?" Like, nah, man, I'm a pro like that.
Well, Rube, bro, you've been listening to the conversation. Obviously, Mike Trout, Cody Bellinger. Go ahead, bro. Lead the conversation. Where do you think this team should go when it comes to free agency?
Oh, definitely. Bellinger, Yamamoto, those two to me would be amazing. I wouldn't mind, trading for Soto depending on the package or what it is. I like your idea that you had mentioned earlier with TC on the previous day that I was watching this morning. I was catching up. I was late.
All good.
Watching the getting like Soto and Bellinger, because Bellinger can slide into first base. So that's what I love about him. And let's say we don't get Soto instantly, and we get him in free agency, we can still once we get Bellinger, you can always start thinking, dang, are they gonna go and put the money on Soto now? So that's the only thing that can complicate it a little bit, because at some point you're gonna have to start extending some of your young guys and trying to keep them. So unless they're gonna do the same crap where they usually do, where they wait until their 6 years to finally try to extend them, which is another mistake, because if they were to do it the way the Braves do, I mean, right now Austin Riley is getting paid $22 million a year on average on his deal. When we all know in free agency, he would have probably been getting paid about $36 million as a third baseman.
And
so
also, sorry to back up to cut you off.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
To your point, if the Yankees believe in Wells and Volpe as strongly as they do, after the season, they should offer them both a 7-year contract worth 50 to 60 million, maybe even less.
I don't think less would do it, especially in New York, but I can see that. But even if you do more, that would still be a good deal. But and this is where I like the way the Braves do it. They go on a case by case situation. So with Acuna, he was a star instantly. So they went ahead and we're gonna go now. We're gonna be aggressive now because we already seen what he can be, and they knew the kind of makeup he had. Now, then you go and look at Austin Riley. They tried him out a couple years. They said, all right, let's fix yourself. We still believe in you. We know you have that in there. Once he had that full breakout year, and once they saw that second year, he was halfway through the second year, and they said, oh shit, he's real. Like, he's not slumping. He's actually doing well. Then they went after him and said, all right, we want you here long term. So like that, to me, based on the players, you got to go on a case by case. So Volpe, he's been good, but he hasn't been really good. You know what I mean? Like yeah, the 2020 sounds amazing and everything, but he still has an OPS under 700. Come on, guys.
I also think out of all in the last 20 years, they've only bought out two of their prospects, which was Cano and Severino, before hitting free agency. They offered them both a contract of 4 years before free agency, and both of them. I mean, Cano was great for the time he was with the Yankees, but after he left, he was.
But I think Cano, if Cano wasn't so focused on getting the most years, because at that time we were at a time in baseball where, and it still happens now, but it felt like every year back then everyone was trying to break everyone's record consistently, and it was always like, who's gonna break the next contract for 10 years? And if Cano would have prioritized being a Yankee more, because the Yankees offered a higher annual average, we're willing to pay him more per year. We're going to pay him like $27-28 million a year.
175 compared to 10 years, 240.
Exactly. So if you look at it, if Cano would have stayed, Cano would have been really good those next 4 or 5 years that he was with the Seattle Mariners. He would have been a monster, and then they would have been looking at him, because let's say, okay, he had those 5 years. Maybe he never gets caught by the PED stuff, because, I think part of that was him also. All right, I got to go into the PEDs because I'm in Seattle in this big ass ballpark, and my power dipped on the first year. Maybe he didn't need to do that in New York as much, but that's your speculation. But anyways, back to the free agency. Sorry about that. I got sidetracked.
No, all good. Go ahead, bro.
But when I look at that, I think Bellinger is a move, because like if Rizzo does come back, we just can have Bellinger in center field right now. And we have Florial battle out left field with Peraza in spring training, and then once those two battle it out, which I think Florial would win it because he's more seasoned. And plus gives us another left-handed bat. And then let's say Dominguez comes back up. Now Dominguez doesn't have such a big pressure on him, and he can ball out in left field.
Bingo.
Or you could even move Bellinger to left field, because left field is like a center field too.
And Yankee Stadium. Yep.
In Yankee Stadium. So you
got a lot of room to cover.
I trust the fact that Cody Bellinger has played multiple outfield spots at the big league level. Not only center field, but he's played in right field. He played in left field when they first got Mookie Betts and stuff like that. He was moving around constantly. So when it comes to Cody Bellinger, you said it perfectly. It's his versatility that's key to me. Because say, like, for instance, the Yankees sign him going into the season, he could be your starting center fielder. Like you said, you can have Esteban Florial and Peraza battle it out for left field. Have whichever one wins it during the middle of the season. If they're struggling, by the time Dominguez comes back up, you can move Bellinger to left field or move Bellinger to first base, depending on how Anthony Rizzo bounced back from that injury, right? So it gives you more than an option instead of going out there signing a guy like Jung Ho Lee, who could only play in the outfield. Cody Bellinger, he gives you that versatility of the both of it.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I also think the fact that Rizzo has 1 more year is the reason. I don't even know if they're going to protect. Who's the player you always like, Hector? From
Chaparro. Listen, Chaparro, that's my guy. That's my friend.
Chaparro might be in the MLB next year for another team. I don't think he stays down there anymore.
I don't see the Yankees protecting Chaparro unless they think Rizzo will be out for the year next year.
Yeah. And we're not sure what's going to happen with Anthony Rizzo, because look at the history of players that we have had that had concussions. They've never been able to bounce back. Clint Frazier was a top 5 prospect in all of Major League Baseball.
Justin
Morneau, who was an all-star and MVP, had that never was able to bounce. There's been so many players that has gotten that concussion and never been able to bounce back. Carlos Beltran, when we got Carlos Beltran a few years ago, It was in Tampa. You remember that nasty play in Tampa when he was going for the ball and he fell over the wall and he hit his head on the floor. He got a concussion and was never the same. This is a guy who just came off winning a batting title with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Do you think there's a way they can basically pay him to sit on the field and get him off the roster? Like,
I mean, they could always just let him go.
Yeah, drop him, because that is the only way I see.
Look, Steve Schumann right here, Francisco
Yeah,
Cervelli. That's
Cervelli.
another one. He was an amazing offensive catcher, solid defensively, went to Pittsburgh, was good out there, had that concussion, and was never able to bounce
I see the
back.
chat, and no one will trade for Rizzo. I don't.
Yeah,
think
no one would trade.
will
No one would trade. It would have to be a
Myers
mutual
the trade deadline piece. No one
It
would
would
have.
If anything, he might retire. Like you never know how it goes. He might retire before the season starts, or he might retire mid-season.
Yeah,
Well,
Like,
I don't think
he-
he will retire with all that money on the books.
No, because if he retires, there'll be a medical retirement. He'll get paid.
he'll get the money. It's not like he's retiring because he doesn't want to play anymore. It's a
If
medical
they-
thing,
if
like
they can-
Ruben's
if he
saying.
can retire and get the money, he probably should deal with that, and the Yankees will have an open spot on the roster.
And I would say if you're the Yankees, do the right thing. If Rizzo retires because of this injury, right, do the right thing. Hire him as a coach and keep him a part of the
He
team.
would be a very good.
That'd be awesome.
Keep him a part of it because you could tell he's liked in that locker
He could
room.
even be the
really
water
liked.
boy, bro. I'm just saying, like they like him so much. He'd be like, "Here you go, sunshine. Here you go." You know, he makes people laugh.
Just do what Bobby Valentine was doing. You remember when Bobby Valentine was thrown out of the game and he came back with the fake mustache and stuff?
Yeah.
Just do what Bobby Valentine did and just snuck your ass,
He would
sneak your ass into the.
he probably would remind me of Elston Howard. And
guys, just hold on 1 second. I got two people backstage that I want to bring up and join us in the conversation, and then I'm gonna throw it back over to Ruben. But we got big time Jerry in the building. Jerry, how you doing?
Oh.
Jerry, where you going with that
He's
shirt? You going
sharp.
to the casino, Jerry? What you doing?
No, we had to go to the medical center. My wife injured her back.
I hope
And
sorry about that.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know I was going to be on or not, because we were going to go to Columbia today, but due to her back, we had to cancel.
All good, Jerry. All good, Jerry. I want to bring up one more person that I got backstage. My guy, Sunil. Let's bring up Sunil to the conversation. Suni, how you doing?
Hey, what's up?
I'm good, my guy. How you feeling, Sunil? You feeling good?
Sunil's part of the Cuba Association with me.
We are a part of the follically challenged community. Okay, we're gonna get that correct. Okay, follically challenged over here.
I think it was 2 days ago. Two days ago was National Bald Headed Day or something like that.
Really, was it?
Yeah, it was. I came to know while watching NFL Network, and it was on Insider. Somebody mentioned it, and I was like, you know what? It's one less thing to do on a daily basis. You know, it's one less. Yeah.
As long as you don't got to worry about that sweat. That's the one thing I.
And you know what? And I'm on the Ruben train here as far as doing it myself too.
Bro, let me tell you, I go outside here in Florida. It's humid as hell. It is humid.
Wow,
dude! You go outside and it's literally you're sweating bullets already.
Yeah, my thing. When I was in Florida, and I didn't realize this until I got back. You see how this is how I always wear my hat with this showing right here.
Why?
I got the tan. Yeah, this was tanned and everything. It was just the line and the outline. That's really all it was. And I had to wear my hat like this for like a good 3 weeks to make sure that no one's noticed it. But I want to throw it over to Jerry real quick. Jerry, then throw it over to Sunil for the conversation. But Jerry, you've been listening. Let's get your thoughts. What's your thoughts on how the Yankees should attack this offseason? Go ahead, Jerry, and then throw it over to Sunil, and let's circle back to Ruben.
First of all, I love that ninth inning with Peraza hitting that home run. He put
my guy Joe, what it do?
Oh, that was great. That was great. Mm-hmm. Even though we only won 4 games out of the 13, we're going to be spoilers, I think, here in the end, here in the stretch. I agree with you guys about Rizzo. I don't think Rizzo's going to make it. He's going to have difficulty with that head injury, and that's a great idea, having him as a coach. I just don't see him finishing the season next year, if he even starts the season. Yeah.
No, I listen, Jerry. I agree with you that the concussion is a hard thing to come back, especially for baseball players, because out of the 3 or out of the 4 big time sports, the NHL, NBA, NFL, and MLB, out of the 4 of them, baseball is the hardest sport to play out of all 4. Right. When it comes to having to hit a round ball with a round bat, but make it on a flat surface, it's one of the hardest things to do. And
at 100 miles an hour.
At 100 miles an hour. You got 2.3 seconds to react if it's going to be 100 or 84 miles per hour, right? So that's one of the hardest things to do. And losing your hand-to-eye coordination, losing your timing. We saw Ruben. What was that game that he struck out 5 times, bro, in a game? And
that's not like him, man.
No,
that's not like him.
Wow.
No, whatsoever. He's thinking that the ball is up high, but it's literally at his knees. He's not able to recognize what it is. So I'm not sure what type of treatment or what type of rehab he has to do.
He was having an
for the first 2 months of the season, 290, 11 home runs. He was
300, bro. He was hitting 300.
He was hitting 300 at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I really thought he was going to have 330. Like, I really thought he was going to have 300 for the year and 30 home runs because he was always that kind of hitter, but the shift would always knock him down a couple points.
Then he couldn't find the fences anymore. He just
like Ella said, he's going to be 35. It's not like he's going to be 30. He's going to be 35 years old next year.
And he's not a Freeman 35.
No, he's not a spring chicken. He's definitely not a spring chicken. Sunil, I want to throw it over to you. How do you think the Yankees should attack this offseason? And I'm not sure if you was listening to the conversation earlier when I was talking about Giancarlo Stanton. I want to get your thoughts on that if you want Giancarlo Stanton on the Dallas Mavericks. Go ahead.
Well, first things first, I don't think you want to make Stanton the next Bobby Bonilla either with your 20-year approach either. Because you can ask Met fans how that's running for them right now.
For $1 million a year, I'll take the hit.
I'll take a hit, $1 million a year. I'm good.
But Hector was talking 4.9, and with that whole kickback incentive, 5.9.
Hey,
for 20 years.
That's $1 million. That's $1 million with inflation. That's all.
That's all that is.
It's not like we're struggling anyway to build a good roster, and we're struggling to take out money for the big rock stars that were coming out in the last 5 years. So for that reason and that reason alone, I say you got to put Cashman either out as GM, or you basically do the elevated position thing, like many people have been saying, and you bring in new flesh blood. And if you look at my screen name down below,
can't see it.
I can't see it.
I can't see it.
I can't.
Nobody.
Oh, okay. I put my entire first name hyphen next Yankee GM.
All right, I'll vote for you.
I think Steinbrenner will probably fire you after day 1.
No. Once I get on, Fishman is the first motherfucker out.
Let me tell you, if they do that promotion stuff with Cashman at some point, I just hope, for God's sakes, please God, don't allow them to go and promote somebody from within. I want somebody from either Tampa. I want somebody from Houston. I want somebody from Atlanta. Give me one of those. Give me someone from even LA. Give me one of those guys.
I agree, Ruben.
Have a top 10 farm system.
So you've seen all these teams.
Steve, hold on. Steve Suman says, no offense, Sunil, but Bugs Bunny would be a distinct improvement.
Steve Schumann, hold my beer.
Well, go ahead, Ruben. Go ahead, Sunil. You were saying something?
Yeah.
So first guy out is definitely Fishman, without a doubt. And then if you look at the 25 years since he's been here, he's gone through 3 managers. Torrey egregiously got underpaid. He booked for LA. Girardi was 1 game away from a World Series.
Yeah.
Right.
He got Sanchez. Literally.
That's messed up, bro. That
is messed up.
Definitely messed up.
I felt, and I'm gonna say this real quick, and I'm gonna throw it over to Sunil. I felt like it was a cop out, and they was looking for any excuse to get rid of Joe Girardi. Because Ruben, you can't tell me if your excuse was you got rid of Joe Girardi because you needed someone who can connect to Gary Sanchez at a ground level. You had him. His name was Tony Pena. He was a catcher. He was from DR. He spoke the same language.
I don't understand that though. Like this is the. I was pissed when I heard the news. When I heard the news that he's not coming back, I was like, to connect with Sanchez. They were a game for the World Series. What do you mean to connect with Sanchez? Like he connected enough.
What a poor excuse.
And you bring in Aaron Boone, who was never a catcher.
I thought Tony Pena should have been
never a catcher. I definitely think it should have been Tony Pena, because Tony Pena, he goes back to the days of Joe Torre. He was here with Joe. So he was a part of Joe Torre's staff towards the end. Then when they hired Joe Girardi, he was a part of that interview process, but he was still the bench coach when they hired Girardi.
Yeah.
I never understood the reason for Boone. And I don't like the way Boone manages. I don't.
Yes, they were looking.
Jonathan, he's a yes man. He's a yes man, Jonathan.
I know
he's
a yes
not
man,
from the network, and not from the network.
No.
A yes man. When has a yes man ever won anything?
Never. Say it. Never.
Hey, God bless.
Hey, he's even better than Cashman right there.
Yeah, no.
He'll go and go.
We'll supplant the three guys from there: Cashman, Minaya, and Sabian. Well, Sabian we might just keep for a different role, but I would basically put in a front office of myself, Ruben, and Li.
Hey, listen, Li too. Listen, that'll be a. I don't know the over and under, but I'll give it like
for the draft.
I'll give it a couple of days before Ruben punched someone. Trying to figure out this offseason.
No. First things first. I'm about to go full Posada on the team before Ruben can do anything. I'm about to go full Posada. I'm going to hold people to their accountability every fucking day.
You're not going to piss on your hands, right?
For the calluses, I want to bring up a candidate, and I want to get your take on it, Ruben, and I want to get TC's take on it as well. And the reason why I got this idea, because I saw an interview with shout out to my guys over at Foul Territory, our guys Scott Braun, Eric Kratz, AJ Polinsky.
Awesome.
They were interviewing Rachel Balder. I keep butchering her last name. Yeah, Rachel Baldovich from the Yankees minor league system. And she talked about how she wouldn't want to be a coach at the big leagues. She would want to be a general manager. She says because nowadays the GM is the baseball mind that knows situations that can construct the roster. She's like, a manager nowadays is you're just a yes man for the front office. So she said she would rather be a GM so she can help construct the roster. She has a baseball mind. And I've seen her down in Tampa with the Tampa Bay Tarpons, and I'm always going to say this. Every game that I saw her, she wasn't in the dugout. She was either the first base coach or the third base coach. And she demands respects from that roster. Yeah, Ruben, go watch the Tampa Bay Tarpons. When she's coaching, she's not in the dugout. She's on the first baseline or she's on the third baseline with her players. And that to me stuck out. I would love to see her get an opportunity, possibly if not taking over as a GM, be in second tier and groomed to be that next GM. Ruben, what's your thoughts? I want to get TC in on the conversation, then throw it over Jonathan, Jerry, and then Sunil. Go ahead, Ruben.
That makes sense to me. I mean, because I don't know if you saw then once the whole Chaim Bloom thing happened with the Red Sox, they threw out Alex Cora's name as a potential GM as well. So it seems like that seems like a natural thing to do to go have a roster build. So now I just don't hope they don't get any ideas and put Boone there.
We don't need that, bro. We don't need that.
When I'm like, guys, I'm gonna go and imitate Alex Rodriguez's batting stance, okay? But overall, like, but I do think Rachel would be an interesting person to go to. I would like to see her a little bit more, get a bit more seasoned on that, but it makes sense because I mean there are some there's supposed to be a natural progression, and sometimes those GMs, those managers do end up saying, now I want to go into the front office. They want to move up higher. So I mean I think that would make sense because there are some guys that they just stick at the manager level and they're fine with it, but some other folks like to kind of challenge themselves in different areas. So that makes sense. And I think there was one there's one play Oh, I wasn't. No, he wasn't a manager though. It was Chris Young. He's a former player, but like, there's a lot of former players. They're like either going into managing, but then they're like, I want to also be a GM too. Like, like they're looking into that kind of area where like they're not just looking at just manager and that's it.
He's with MLB right now currently.
Yeah, Chris Young is with MLB right now, but he was entertaining the options of either being a coach or working in the front office, to Ruben's point. TC, I want to get your take on that real quick, and let's throw it over to Jonathan, Jerry, and then Sunil before we get ready to wrap things up. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I mean that's a great idea, bringing her in as a GM. I mean, we need a different perspective, a different different view on what what this team needs, because we've kind of got stale and complacent with the same moves, the same bringing in, like we've talked, bringing in these retreads, and we need different minds, different points of view, and she seems like she's a baseball person, and she's involved and she's getting respect. I don't think it's at this point. It might be too early, like Ruben said. She might need some more years under her belt, but yeah, I don't see why not. Great idea.
Real quick, guys. It's kind of like you know how Aaron Boone says, "I'm a baseball guy, bro." She's like, "I'm a baseball girl, bro."
And also, Ruben, every prospect that we have that is coming up, they all played under her. Spencer Jones, Jasson Dominguez, Peraza, Cabrera. Every prospect that we have that's coming up, they all played under her. So
she got hit by a baseball and then go to the IL.
If anyone knows those players, it's definitely her. She knows the character. She knows who's gonna hustle, who has that work ethic, who comes into the gym early and who leaves late. She knows what Brian Cashman and maybe the other scouts don't know when it comes to those players on a personal level. Go ahead, Jonathan. I want to get your thoughts on it. Throw it over to Jerry.
The one person, if I had a choice, I would get rid of in the front office. I would get rid of Randy Levine. I would promote Brian Cashman to his job, and I would put Rachel at the GM. But I've never liked Randy Levine. I think he's basically a bully, and I don't think he's a good. I think he's stuck in the very mean George Steinbrenner era, not where he was sort of in the background in his last couple of years, but pre-2000.
Doesn't dress for the press conference either. Looking like a mess.
Randy Levine just remind me of Smithers from The Simpsons. That's who Randy Levine remind me of. Smithers, who works with the billionaire, that dude, the secretary or whatever. That's who he remind me of. I want to get Jerry's take on it. Jerry, we're gonna throw it over to Sunil, and then let's throw it around one more time before we get out of here.
Well, I like Rachel because it looks like she's hands-on, and like you said, she knows the personnel already, so she would fit in quite well. Really, that'd be great. There was a suggestion that they bring in Bloom as the GM. I say hell no. From Boston, they just he got rid of Mookie Betts, one of the best players, for nothing. That's insane what they did. The man is spectacular, and they get rid of him. Unbelievable. And they're going nowhere. They're like the Titans with the Yankees for last place. Battle of the Titans.
And this series that just happened, this 4-game series, how many players did we see on both the Yankees and the Red Sox side of things that 10 years ago we would have never seen in the lineup? We got players that are rookies, 1-year players, or whatever, removed 2-year players. That would have never happened 10 years ago, especially in September. Normally, Red Sox versus Yankees in September, that's either battling for a wild card spot or the top spot of the division.
Another thing, if I was in the Yankees front office, I would try to steal someone from the Rays analytics team, because the Rays seem.
I would say the Braves.
The Braves. Yes.
Brian Cashman has tried to copy the way the Tampa Bay Rays have been going about things for the past 5 years. It hasn't worked out. So start copying someone else that has worked out and won a World Series in the Atlanta Braves. So now I want to throw it over to you. I want to get your takes on what we was talking about when it comes to Rachel and the GM for the team. Go ahead, bro, before we get ready to wrap it up.
So my first point is a combination of what Ruben and Jonathan said. Are you sure you really want Rachel Balkovic in the same room with Brian Cashman? Because she's the first candidate between her and Barbie to kick Brian Cashman in the cashew nuts. Okay? First things first. Secondly, that whole thought that Ruben brought out about Cora's name being brought in as GM for the Red Sox. If the Yankees actually fire Boone, Cora's going to get him. Because the two of them are notoriously the best of friends, even though they're on. Yeah, exactly. I hear you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye,
Yeah.
Felix.
Right. See you later.
Yeah. And if that happens, I'm putting big time Jerry's name in for manager.
Listen, ultimately, I think Aaron Boone is going to wind up being the manager for the Cincinnati Reds after his time with the Yankees. Because one, he's from Cincinnati. His father, he has ties. His family has ties to the Cincinnati Reds organization, from his brother to his father to his grandfather. Right? He came up with the Cincinnati Reds.
He played there with Casey
too. And yes, Sean Casey as well. Ultimately, I think Aaron Boone will wind up being the manager for the Reds. Since the Reds are turning things around, they got all these young kids that are coming up, and it'll be the same bullshit excuse the Yankees gave to sign Aaron Boone. Oh, he's relatable to these young players.
That just may happen, Hector. That just may happen.
And bonus point for Cora being the GM of the Red Sox. Keep the Apple Watches and the trash cans out of the Red Sox front office.
Listen, like Sean Browning just said right here, the Boone last name in Cincinnati, it's royalty. It's royalty. It's like the Kennedys here in New York City. It's royalty, that last name.
Well, not
I thought Kennedys were from Massachusetts.
We got the bridges. We got the airport.
Yeah. Well, the airport, JFK. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and the RFK bridge. But from Massachusetts as well. Same thing.
Yeah, or what New Yorkers lovingly like to call Massachusetts.
Yeah. let's get ready to wrap it up. The Yankees got a game later on tonight versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ruben, I want to throw it over to you. What do you want to see from Peraza coming down the stretch? And what does Esteban Florial have to show you to give him an opportunity to bounce back on this team for next year? Go ahead, bro.
I mean, I need to see Peraza and Florial just keep hitting. That's it. I mean, because the athletic wise, we know what they bring in terms of defense, arm, everything when it comes to that. So we just need to see them consistently hit, force the issue, because this is their shot. I mean, they've been mishandled by the Yankees for a good portion of their time. Florial's been killing it since last year. So it's nothing new with Florial. It's just a matter of showing it. And it shows right now. Like, his at-bats look better than Pereira's at-bats right now. So to me, it's like, just keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully they pop a few more home runs and doubles, just so that way the Yankees feel like a little something about them, because like if they hit 300 down the stretch and only hit one or two home runs, the Yankees gonna be like, we don't like them that much. So I'm hoping, get three more home runs or so with the average, so that way the Yankees can just, finally give them the shot.
Yeah, 100%. And also when it comes to Florial and his at-bats, he is getting the count to 3-2. He's not going up there and being aggressive. Like, he had a couple at-bats that he swung at the first two pitches, but majority of these at-bats, they're 6, 7, 8 pitch at-bats. So got to give credit to Esteban Florial.
Yeah, one last thing on Florial. There was a guy like that. I remember on Twitter, like somebody was saying, he's not walking and this and that. And I'm like, the guy has a 14% walk rate. That's above average, way above average. So like, he walks a ton. He goes 3-2. He looks a lot more comfortable at the box. I personally, when I've seen him play, when he starts a game, not that he's pinch hitting or something. When he starts the game, his at bats to me never looked like he was overmatched. He just looked like a guy that just needed more time to get acclimated. And that's why, like, when people went into like, he can't hit a slider or changeup. Who says that? You haven't seen him long enough to even show that he can. Like, and let alone back-to-back games. I mean, the guys, they were playing one game instead of him for 2 weeks.
Exactly. Listen, if Esteban Florial could turn into a more athletic Juan Rivera, I think anybody would take that. Honestly,
Juan Rivera was solid. He was solid.
He was Vladimir's protection in that lineup for how many years? Consistently. But one thing I want to say about Esteban Florial, I throw it over to Jonathan, Jerry, and then Sunil and then TC to close this out. when he got hit by that pitch in his last at bat yesterday in his knee, I was praying that nothing was wrong with him. He went to first base. He stood in the game. You could tell on his face, I'm not coming out of this game. Even if my knee is broken, I'm not coming out of this game. I'm staying right here as a gamer.
Right in the kneecap. Right in the
that's what I like the most about Florial. Jonathan, I'm gonna throw it over to you, throw it over to Jerry, Sunil, and then Sunil throw it over to TC to close us out. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, if Florial continues to have good plate discipline, draws his walks, gets on base, gets hits, and doesn't strike out a whole bunch, I think he could be around next year. I mean, I'm not sure if the Yankees want him because his roster spot could be used to protect the Rule 5 player. But I wish they brought him up in July and gave him a 2-month shot instead of a 2-week shot that they're giving now.
Yeah,
because they needed a left fielder. They had him all year.
Jonathan, but we had McKinney and we had Bowers. What about those guys? They're rock stars.
We've been using everybody to avoid using Florial.
Willie Bangs.
Christ.
That is one.
Jerry, I want to throw it over to you, Jerry, to get your take on the conversation when it comes to Florial and Peraza. What do you want to see? And then throw it over to Sunil and then TC to close us out for today. Go ahead, Jerry.
Cut down on the strikeouts. He is getting some pretty good bats. The thing is, I don't know if he's going to play tonight. Getting hit in the kneecap, the swelling may have gotten worse, and he may not even play tonight.
Let's knock on wood. Let's see what happens. Let's knock on wood.
I hope he's in the lineup, but I'm not sure. We'll see. And he would have never come up if Dominguez didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
It would have been an afterthought. They kept him.
You got to make the best of your opportunity, and that's why I said every game he's been up here, Jerry, he's gotten a hit in every game except for one. So he's making the most out of his opportunity. And like Ruben said, he doesn't look like he's scared up there with his at bats. He is having quality at bats. He's not expanding the strike zone.
I was just looking if they released the lineup yet, and so far
no, not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Like
not
Todd
yet.
says, he's cheering for him, and I am too. I'm cheering for the kid.
I think we all should be cheering for him. Sunil, I want to throw it over to you to get your thoughts on the conversation when it comes to Florial and Peraza. What do you want to see? And then throw it over to TC to close us out. Go ahead, Sunil.
So to Ruben's point about having Bowers, every time I see Bowers come up to the plate, the Fox 24 clock goes off in my head every time. Secondly,
for the first 2 months of the season, I was calling him Jack Bowers for the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah, but he looks nothing like Kiefer Sutherland, so that.
Hey, real quick, you know who he reminds me of Florial?
Who?
He reminds me. Offensively, he reminds me of Granderson.
Yeah.
And defensively, reminds me of like a prime Bernie, but with an arm.
You know, I was just about to the point about Florial. I was just about to say it's unfortunate that he doesn't, hit switch hitter. He's not a switch hitter. Otherwise, he would have been a potential next Bernie in the coming.
Yeah.
But I will just bring up this this is by coincidence. What do Torrey and Mussina, as well as Boone and Florial, have in common? Both incidences took place in Boston. Mussina had that perfect game. Torrey was coming out, about to talk about. He's like, "No, stay in the dugout." He's like, "Okay."
I thought that was in Detroit. I thought that was in Detroit.
Not for his perfect game.
That wasn't his perfect game. That was in Detroit.
Was that in Detroit? I thought that was the game.
No, that was in Detroit. I know what game you're talking about. You're talking about the bottom of the ninth with the hitter came in and he got that hit.
Carl Everett.
Carl Everett got that hit in the bottom. Carl Everett, who had the fake Ken Griffey Jr. batting stance. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Florial is definitely, now that the Yankees had no choice, they had to bring him up. He's getting his playing time. It's not the 54 at bat routine we saw God knows when in the last couple of years. We have a little bit more of a sample set to build on. And if they know what's right for them and they're already, having a lack of outfielders, right now your only three staples in the outfield are really Judge, Pereira, and Florial. And as a utility player, you're pretty much playing all over the field IKF in the outfield, even though he's not a natural outfielder by trade. So yeah, getting a Bellinger and getting some of these others are definitely seen as key. But to an earlier point you mentioned about the pitching staff, yeah, I know Snell is going to be a costly affair, but I think you have to balance that rotation too, to have 3 righties and 2 lefties. You can't keep it like I mean, you got Rodon, but you saw what happened. Rodon is, he's had an injury-plagued career even during his White Sox days. You can't really rely on the fact that even though you paid him $6 for $162 million, you can't really rely on him to be that number 2. If you bring somebody who's got a little bit more composure, a little bit more reliability health-wise, if you have Cole, insert that other ace here, Rodon as your top 3, and then Schmidt and King down below, how are you going wrong? Or even if you add a Yamamoto's a righty if I'm not mistaken. But even if you add, you're going to part with Sevy and Herman.
Right, and Nestor.
Who knows what? And exactly. Nestor, I think you have to complement Wandy in the bullpen with Nestor as your other lefty.
Wandy's gone after this year.
Wandy's gone after. Okay, so you need a lefty in the pen anyway. Nick Ramirez isn't doing jack squat.
Oh no.
I don't want to hear Nick. I don't think any of us want to see. I don't think any of us want to see Nick Ramirez. He reminds me of a
so the point is, the proper position for Nestor to go to is the bullpen. You need 1 more lefty and 2 more righties. You need 3 arms in the starting rotation as well.
Hey, when it comes to Nick Ramirez, you guys remember that game, the extra inning game? I think it was against Milwaukee that we won. It was a walk-off.
Yeah.
I swear, when I saw Nick Ramirez, when I was surprised that we even won. But I was thinking, okay, Boone wants to go home. I'm gonna win, Nick, and either we win or we somehow steal this win. Oh, he's gonna go and send us home.
Ruben, I was at that point in time, I was thinking I want to go play pickleball. Fuck watching this game.
Shout out my guy Macho King in the building. Macho King, how you doing, my guy? Can't wait to see Macho King. He's gonna be there September 23rd.
Hey, Macho, I got your cup of coffee in the big time, buddy.
There you go. TC, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Close us out, TC. And before you close us out, I want to shout out to my guy, retired war vet, that's in the chat that put in there that today is POW and MIA day. I'm gonna highlight the cheese, and I'll repeat this again. Let us not forget that today is POW/MIA recognition day. Silent players or your time for those that were missing and not forgotten. Absolutely, retired war vet. Thank you for your service. As well, shout out to Anna Marie, Eli BK, Macho King that was in the building. My guy Primo, Super Mo is in the building. Go ahead, TC. Close us out, my guy.
Yeah, don't forget Dev Finch's parents' 44th wedding anniversary.
Yes, congratulations, Dev Finch.
Congratulations.
Congrats on that. Yeah, great panel discussion today, guys. Thank you, Jonathan, Ruben, Sunil, Pops, being here. Got a lot of stuff to do in the off season. It's gonna be a bit
busy off season.
Busy for Cashman and whoever else helps him out. And game today, we'll see what Cole does. Hopefully he's another feather in his cap for his Cy Young award season and going facing his old team. And we'll see what happens. I can't wait to see what Florial does today. I hope he's in the lineup. I'm rooting for him, as well as Peraza and Pereira and the rest of the guys showing what they have for next year. And who knows? Florial could be that guy for next year. What happens during
only time will tell.
Last month, exactly. Only time will tell. We'll see what happens, and just keep the winning ways, and Hector, that 16-7 might work out. So
maybe.
Yo.
Because Sunil said we was good. Sunil said we was going to lose 3 out of the 4 games in Boston.
Sunil,
I ain't paying those receipts.
Did I not tell you? Didn't I tell you? Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if these young guys make us win a few more games than you expect.
Exactly.
First of all, it's not a 23 game span. It was a 22 game span. Number two, I'm sticking by 14-8.
Okay, no problem. We'll see, Sunil, but appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure
I could have said 13-7.
Make sure you guys go and support NYY News Ruben. Go support
12-6.
NYY News Felix. My guy Don Sicario as well. Make sure you guys go and support Dane and Carlos when it comes to the Farm Report. They got their channel that is bumping right now. Make sure you guys go and follow the Pinstripe Chronicles and Uncle Tats. You'll see Sunil's crazy ass in the middle of the night because he's one of the co-hosts over there. We appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Jerry
but like
Show,
always,
don't forget Jerry Ferrara.
Oh yeah, yes.
Jerry
After
Ferrara.
this, make sure you guys go to the Jerry Ferrara channel. Celso's producing for Jerry right now, so go and tune into the channel. Make sure you guys go support some love. But like always, NYYU, we out of here. Deuces.
Gonna see you live on Saturday.